Proverbs 19 verse 17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again. Following yesterday's sharing, turns out, when you slowly work on the process, at the level of motivation, filter out these things, and see God's gracious hand on him, also on you, and you find some clues. But unlike Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, Casey Treat, Bob Yindyan, from those whom they imitated, they stop making progress when they learn what they didn't know before. Benny Hinn, for example, stopped making progress after learning from Catherine Kuhlman. But I'm not. I'll learn from someone else, then, learn from another and go on to imitate more. In this way, I found that what they have in common is character. Unfortunately, they follow only one example. Speaking of character, sometimes people do not even know their own character or even deceive themselves. So when he learns from only one person, he can't accumulate enough experience points to make an analysis like mine. I've been through decades, no matter who I learn from, I can do what that man can do. Whether it is the revelation of the Bible, the operation of gifts, or God's guidance through vision, I can do it. And then, gradually, I realized, even 10 or 20 years ago, I have not been able to define the relevant words to describe, but subconsciously, I already knew what it was. So, many years ago, I have begun to deal with my inner thoughts, words, and character. Of course, since the first year I believed in the Lord, have tended to be worthy of God in character. In my early years, that was all I could do. The reason is that I had nothing, neither money nor talent, when I first believed. So whether it's praying or going to church, for me, it means being different from others. At that time, we have youth groups and working youth. Among them, the people involved in the working youth fellowship, primarily to meet the opposite sex, when they can go on stage, they want to show off. At that time, I had nothing and felt inferior, having nothing to offer God. I can only offer my heart. But when I offer my heart, I realized that since this was the moment when I had nothing, the single greatest gift that can be given to God, so, from that year on, I saw that giving my heart to God was the least I could do. In addition to that, I will give other things, but this is the bare minimum to offer. However, many Christians do not even make this minimum sacrifice. What kind of heart do I take with me every time I go to church? Lots of people go to church, only value yourself for having a good mood. They go to church to have a good mood, not like me, in search of God, and with a particular kind. The minimum is to attend church with a respectful, dedicated heart. From that year on, at the very least, I am determined to give my heart to God for the rest of my life. My mindset, my ideas, my respect, my value. Don't you know when the temple was built in the Old Testament, to create this atmosphere? God does not do things in vain. From the Bible, Hannah was able to give birth to Samuel, from the heart with which she made the covenant before God. She knew that, in many ways, she could not offer to God, and how did she get a son from God? It turns out, in the presence of God, the minimum is to give your heart. Unfortunately, this is often the last thing the common church does. I know a lot of people, they don't know that all I have to do is just talk to them, then, I'll know who they are. They are often the last ones willing to attend church with their hearts in mind. The one who goes to church with the most minor heart is the pastor. Most of the time, it's the pastor of that church. In fact, Dennis Balcom is the first one I saw and felt deeply about, who went to church without bringing his heart. I've said before, as the congregation worships and praises God from the stage, he sat on the podium and used the computer to do various things. Who is this? He calls himself a priest, but he has no idea what he's doing wrong. Why is this so? They think they have attended church, and being pastors, and fasting. He brought many things to God. But isn't that typical of the Pharisees' self-righteousness? It is only their last thing to bring their hearts to the church. At present, the church does not hold physical meetings. However, from past Sunday meetings, you can always see that I am one of the people who respects God the most. I have never disrespected God for a single week in all these years. Because this is the minimum to bring your heart when you come to God. So many people stumble in their faith. If I see that their hearts are irreparable, no assistance will be given. Why should they go to church? Since it is impossible to leave the heart to God first and least, only focusing on your own feelings, emotions, success or vanity, etc., why go to church at all? Again, how did I pay my 1/10? Hing Shing is a witness because he usually pays me my salary. He can see my respectful attitude toward my 1/10, because, at the very least, I must bring a heart and pay tithes to God, and not because I'm rich, see it as an alms or a tip. For decades, I've been consistent. Then you will see why I have gifts and revelations. This is how you should observe me. If you can't see it from observation, you'll realize it when I reveal it. Does it reflect that your observations are fundamentally one-sided? So why are your observations so one-sided? Because when you were studying me, the focus thing is very different from mine. Proverbs 19 verse 17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again.
For there will come a time when everything subsides. All of our dreams, our goals, all that we want in life. I could control the days, I could erase the nights, but when it's all said and done, pray that I chose right. I could control the days, I could erase the nights, but when it's all said and done, pray that I chose right.